My name is Ryan Freund. I'm from Glen Ellen, which is a western suburb of Chicago. I now currently go to Michigan State, and I'm looking to pursue a career in arts, just general arts, I would say, but specifically, I would really like to learn how to work with metal, and that would be my current venture. But I am a painter, I'm a ceramic artist, I'm a graphite artist. Of everything, I'm most comfortable with probably graphite, just because all throughout school I would always have a pencil and I would always be drawing with a pencil, and I became super familiar with that medium. And then basically ever since then, I've been using my graphite skills to sort of aid in different ventures through art. Like I've been trying to apply them through, like in painting, there's a lot of base sketching that starts like the process going, and whenever you lay it out in graphite, like paint is kind of messy and it kind of, the lines get blurred at times, and with graphite it feels really crisp and I feel like I have a lot of control. So I would say that's really nice too. And then with graphite, you also get the option of going back. You can erase, you can undo some of the things that you've done, or even use the eraser as like kind of a method to like aid in contrast, I would say. So I really love using graphite, and that would probably be my favorite medium, but I've greatly enjoyed applying the skills that I learned through like proportions and stuff in graphite into like paint, and carrying that forward in ceramics, like because you would want to sketch something out and kind of get it to scale with what you're doing. And I don't know, another thing too, I was in a 3D class out at Michigan State, and I used some of my graphite skills to kind of apply them to bending wire. And I wanted to get sort of like a 3D representation of a boot that I wear almost every day. And I attempted to do that through using thick gauge wire. And I think this kind of speaks to how I can use graphite skills to apply to different mediums, because whenever I see this, it almost kind of feels like a pencil drawing brought into like the 3D world. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I just really love creating in general.
Touching on your love for the arts, what led to you pursuing arts in the first place? Was it something that you were always interested in, or did you kind of just recently get into it?
I would say arts have always been a part of my life ever since early years, even like as a child. I was actually just last night looking at like childhood videos with my grandparents, and we were watching this video. It was called I think it was The Driveway Adventures Volume 1 or something like that, and it was like from 2005, and I saw myself, they had set out like a bucket of water that was like, they told us it was paint, and then we were putting paint brushes in the water and painting the driveway, and I was watching my 3-year-old self like paint the driveway, and like how I was working through the process of drawing what I had called a railroad at the time. And I just, it was so weird because I saw it like echoed in how like I paint today. I kind of like run around the whole canvas and like back up a lot and restart like my process and view it from different angles, and I was seeing my 3-year-old self doing that with paint as well. So I think it's always been there. I don't know. I just have loved seeing things like in the natural world, and I wanted to like echo that appreciation for those things. Like I'd see a tree and I was like, how could I represent this thing? How could I show the world how I see this thing is so beautiful, you know? And in that pursuit, I guess I kind of just like habitually did it hours and hours and hours, and worked through like doodling in school, worked through like coming home and wanting to do like more. I think I had a stage where I was doing like architectural drawings of like just like buildings, like the layout of like the slab if you cut like a house into 3 levels. And that was probably in like 3rd grade. And I think after that I was really interested in like the space of auto drawings and how you could like draw like maybe like a Porsche or a Lamborghini like accurately to scale from a certain angle, you know? And I think that's like really where I started experimenting with like perspective. And it wasn't more like from like 2nd grade to 3rd grade and like 1st grade too, it was like just like flat drawings, you know, like things that didn't really come out at you, didn't really look exactly how they look in the real world, but like maybe I could draw a motorcycle from the side that like 2D looked like a motorcycle, you know what I mean? But it didn't have any characteristics
like
of contrast or depth or anything. So basically I'd kind of like worked through those early stages, and then I kind of just kept pushing myself because I was so interested in how I could be like more good at representing the world, you know? And after that, it became less about representing the world and more about representing me and my feelings, you know? Because I saw that like once I reached a level where I could like draw perspective, and that would probably be in like 7th grade-ish, I want to say. It was like, where do I go from here? Like I'm making all this meaningless work that's just like basically like a photo, you know what I mean? And I wanted to then like make a message or like speak to my feelings. I was more like making a culmination of ideas in like a work that were like from my head, and like trying to represent how I was experiencing through a certain feeling. My favorite thing about creation is like I really struggle sometimes with social anxiety, and I'm like I'll struggle with like having like bipolar tendencies, and like basically what happens is in like those moments like where like I'm really overwhelmed, like I can make something that kind of like represents what overwhelmed feels like, or like I don't know, like it just kind of like works. I can flow through the process, and like kind of like by the end of it I almost like forget about what was really the problem before, or momentarily I can like have like a moment of peace where it just kind of it works out.
How would you say your art sets you apart from the people around you?
I would say the main differentiating factor between my work and a lot of the people's work that I've seen throughout my years growing up and throughout my years at like Michigan State now, going to Kresge Art School and like just taking a bunch of studio classes and experimenting with different things. The thing that I've really noticed that sets my work apart is that it has a lot of texture, and it's, I don't know, I think that almost speaks to like my perspective. Like whenever I'm making work in oil painting class, like there's people who have like completely flat work that has like, I don't know, it's a different type of texture they go for. Like they go for visual texture. Like I feel like a lot of my work is like kind of gritty. I know that there's a lot of other painters who paint like they, or like with those techniques as well, but I'm not trying to say that I'm like fucking great or anything, you know, but yeah. I would say that's the one differentiating idea so
that's
far.
Just how you do it compared to everybody else.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of other people are really trying to like perfectly echo that like flat perfect mentality where like there's not a spot out of place, and it's like I would say my work is more guttural, it's more expressive. Like I just kind of go off of a base impulse and jump into it, and I feel like that's echoed in texture and changes in surface.
This next question I got for you, where do you hope to see yourself in a year as far as your creative ventures? I
would say in a year I would like to be on track to be an artistic metal worker, and also continue doing other mediums just throughout, I don't know, just everything. I love adding new skills to my tool belt, and the next thing that I want to do is specifically work with like jewelry, metalworking, and also knife making. So I want to learn how to do like machining work. I want to know how to do plasma cutting pretty well, and grinder work, and all the things that you would need to do like metal bending and welding, and all these skills that I want to add all those skills to my belt. And I don't know how long that's going to take, but I would like to be started on that track by the end of next year.
That's good to hear. If you ever need any jewelers to work with, I know a couple people.
Hey, man.
One of the chains I'm wearing right now was made by someone I know. So,
really?
Yeah.
Dude, you got to let me know their information, because I would love to figure it out.
I'll hook you up right after this interview.
Awesome.
This next question I got for you, do you plan on taking this and turning it into like a full-blown career?
Yeah, I would say.
How are you going to make that happen?
Okay. So my plan is that I want to learn like metalworking skills. So I want to be like a certified welder, and I want to like make a quick dollar doing that, and at the same time build like a workshop and an art studio like in my own space. And then at some point I'm hoping that my creative endeavors, like I can just pump out a bunch of paintings and knives and metalworking stuff and all this different type of art, and make like t-shirts and have a YouTube channel, all that stuff, and just carry it to as far as it takes me, you know?